who also joining our service from home, wherever we are. I believe if our heart is directed towards Jesus, toward Him, He will also be in our heart wherever we are, in our home as well. Church, how are we going with our daily Bible reading? Everyone still have their daily read every day? That's good, that's good. Look, lately the word that has spoken strong to me is from 1 Corinthians 2. I shared it already, which says, all things that no eyes have ever seen, no mind has ever thought about, or no ears have ever heard. That's what God has prepared for us, for everyone who love Him. And that's why 2 weeks ago I also shared about love, because love is very important for us to experience whatever the Bible has said before. It's very important, because without love we cannot do what's pleasing to Him. And lately He also speaks to me about the first part, about things that we never see, things that we never heard, things that we never heard about. He wants to work miracle in our lives. He wants to work miracles in our life. Who believe in miracle? I do believe in miracle. And I truly want to see that God works His miracle in our lives. And church, today I want to bring us to our Bible reading. There's a miracle in the Gospel of God, the four Gospel. This is only one of the two that every writer write on the Gospel, besides resurrection. Anybody knows? What is it? We already read it 2 times because we already passed through Matthew and we already passed John. It's the miracle when Jesus feed the 5,000. It's the miracle when Jesus feed the multitude. And today I will read our first from Mark, only because we already read Matthew and John ourselves for our Bible reading, so it's easier for me to take parts from those two, because I will take a little part from every Gospel. But I will read it for us now. Mark 6, verse 30 to 44, the feeding of the 5,000. Then the apostles gathered around Jesus and told Him everything they had done and taught. He said to them, "Come with me privately to an isolated place and rest a while, for many were coming and going, and there was no time to eat." So they went away by themselves in a boat to some remote place. But many saw them leaving and recognized them, and they hurried on foot from all the towns and arrived there ahead of them. As Jesus came ashore, He saw the large crowd, and He had compassion on them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So He taught them many things. When it was already late, His disciples came to Him and said, "This is an isolated place, and it is already very late. Send them away so that they can go into the surrounding countryside and villages and buy something for themselves to eat." But He answered them, "You give them something to eat." And they said, "Should we go and buy bread for 200 silver coins and give it to them to eat?" He said to them, "How many loaves do you have? Go and see." When they found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish. Then he directed them all to sit down in groups on the green grass. So they reclined in groups of hundreds and fifties. He took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, He gave thanks and broke the loaves. He gave them to His disciples to serve the people, and He divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied. And they picked them up, the broken pieces and fish that were left over, 12 baskets full. Now there were 5,000 men who ate the bread. Thank God. Okay, so if we have read the whole of chapter 6, then we would understand that just before the feeding of the 5,000, there's 2 two passage that said that Jesus sent away his disciple to do their ministry. So there they were doing a ministry trip. They preaching the gospel, they heal the sick, they do all miracle and all that they normally see what Jesus do. And also before this feeding of the 5,000 reading, we also see that John the Baptist has just been killed. So that's the story before what we read here just now. And that's why when we start the reading of the feeding of the 5,000, it said that all the apostles gathered. They just came back from their mission trip, and they came to see Jesus to discuss or to report what they have done. And also, on the other hand, Jesus, he just get the message that John the Baptist just has been killed. Church, I think we need to start putting our self in the place of Jesus and the disciples. Imagine that we have John the Baptist is still family with Jesus, by the way, and he's the one who baptized Jesus. So when he heard about this news, I believe it makes his heart uneasy, and he needs time to be by himself, to pray to God, because that's what Jesus do anytime he has uneasy moment. He came to the Father and he would pray to him. Same with this time when he heard about the death of John the Baptist. And also, if we put ourselves in the position of the 12 apostles, they just came from the mission trip, they're tired, and it's said here that they doesn't have anything to eat. They are tired and they are in need of some rest. But what I want us to see here is that the fact that even though they need time for themselves to rest, they need time for themselves to pray. But Jesus being so popular on that time, people know him for his miracle that he's been doing. They know where he's going to. Look, if we read all the 4 gospels about the same story, they're all a bit different, and everything has a little bit of different details, different angles, right? If we read from the Gospel of Luke, for example, then we would know that they are going to a place named Bethsaida. Now it doesn't look important, but later on we can see why it was mentioned, the town Bethsaida. But anyway, we can see from here that all the multitude, the people, they are looking for Jesus. So they followed him. And Jesus, when they see the great multitude, the verse 34 said, he had compassion on them. He had compassion on them. Because they see they were like a sheep without steward, with a shepherd. And church, this is our first point for today that I want us to remember. Jesus has compassion. What is compassion? Compassion is that deep feeling that we have, that we can put aside all things to serve one's need. Jesus has this great compassion for all the sheep because he thought the sheep has no shepherd. He is a shepherd. He is the shepherd. And we need to understand one thing here, that this compassion of Jesus is what started the miracle that we know in this Bible. The compassion that can make him and all the disciples put aside their own need because they need to serve the multitude. They need to serve the sheep. They need to feed the sheep. So if so far we thought of the miracle, we always call it 5 loaves and 2 fish. So far we only see it as the miracle of multiplication, of God who multiply our small things into great abundance. Church, today I want us to see it from a different angle. I want us to remember and to understand that Jesus is teaching his disciples something here. Jesus have a great compassion on the multitude. That's what we need to understand. That's what we need to remember. And if we say we love him, it means that we will do what pleasing to him, right? And now that we understand that Jesus have compassion that great to serve his people, to feed the lamb, to feed the sheep, to feed the flock, to take care of them. Then now we should starting to understand that what he wants us to do is to have the same compassion as him, to take care of his sheep. And then there he goes. He's serving them. The Bible said that he start to healing them. If we read from other verses, it will show that God has started, or Jesus has started to teach them many, many things. The kingdom of God. And then there we see that verse 35 said, when it was already late, his disciples came to him and said, "This is an isolated place, and it is already very late. Send them away so that they can go into the surrounding countryside and villages and buy something for themselves to eat." Just again, I want us to remember the point of view that the disciple has just come back from a ministry trip. They are tired. And Baba said they also haven't anything to eat yet. So they haven't eaten. They're hungry. They're hungry and tired. And as much as in this verse it looks like they are caring for the people, aren't they just like us a lot of times? We care for people, yes. We do our job, yes, taking care of his sheep. But then, without the compassion, we will start to send people away. Why? Because we have limitation, we think. The sheep needs to eat. We need to eat. That's why we often put the sheep in line and we said, "Oh, the sheep need to eat. It's better to send them away so they can have something to eat." But in here, Jesus said to them, "No, you give them something to eat." And church, for this, I want us to read from John version, and see what's said in there. Or maybe Tommy can help me. It's a bit hard to navigate from here. Yes. Okay. Yeshua, therefore, looking at his eyes and seeing that a great multitude was coming to him, said to Philip, "Where are we to buy bread that these may eat?" He said this to test him, for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them may receive a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There is a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what are these among so many?" Okay. So if we read through the Gospel of John, it's written a bit differently. In there we have conversation between Jesus and Philip. And then Andrew, Simon's brother, said, came along later. But I want us to see why Philip or why Andrew. Just as I said before, the Luke Gospel said that they are in Bethsaida. Okay? And if we have read through John, we would understand that in the beginning of John, it was said that Philip, Andrew, and Peter, they're all from Bethsaida. So they are locals. And why is this important that Jesus make a setting to talk to the locals? Because I believe that what the Bible wants to teach us is that as a local, you and me, us, we will also be in this situation one day. As locals, there will come time to us that we need to take care of the sheep, that we need to feed them. But Philip and Andrew, the disciple who also represent us, we would need to see what their responses is. Philip said to Jesus, and by the way, the Bible also said that Jesus knew what he wanted to do. He only asked Philip this, only to test him. And I want us to remember, when there's a test, it means there's a lesson that he wants us to learn. And with the test, it means he wants us to level up. So I do believe here that why this story is here in the Bible, why everything here is happening then, is because Jesus wants to, or he needs to teach and train the disciple about this compassion. Okay, so Philip is just like us, basically. He see problem, he has to feed the multitude, and he would start to see that he can't do it. He said, God, how? But it's very understandable because there's 5,000 men there. It's not including wife and the children. So there's really a lot of people. But even if it's just 5,000, it's still a lot of people. And when Jesus said to him or to the disciple, you go feed them, then he would start to think, oh, how would I do this? How can I do this? We don't have enough. Or even if I have enough money, I have 200 denarii, he said. And he go buy the bread in the village and give all the multitude a piece of bread. Everybody will only get one small bread. It's not enough anyway. And then there's also another type of person. If we see Philip as a person who always, do the calculation first, analyzing first, and don't actually move on to the job. We have another person here, another character, Andrew, that he jumps straight into action and he go find the bread, everything he can find. But then he also jumped into the same conclusion that, Lord, we only have this much, only 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. What is it for this many people? It's not enough. But then, I want us to see what Jesus' response is. What he basically say to the disciple is, you bring all you have to me. He asked the disciple first, what's in your hand? Right? And then he asked them to bring it forward to him. And then he said to the disciple, you go tell them to sit down. And church, I believe when he said to them that they should sit down and they sit on the green grass, on the green pasture, I really believe that represents the sheep and the shepherd. Because if we read through the Psalm 23, it said, God is my shepherd, I shall not want. And then he would put me in the green pasture, in the green grass. So this is a situation like that. Like there's Jesus and there's the multitude that he put on the green grass. He wants us to see the connection that he is a good shepherd. He is a shepherd. Shepherd that needs to take care of the sheep. And the fact is, when Jesus feed the multitude this time, it's not really about the miracle of giving out bread for everyone. But a shepherd needs to take care of the sheep. In this instance, what the sheep needs is food. Is food. That's why Jesus said, feed them. You take care of the sheep. And though we often think that we don't have enough in our hand, there's a principle here that he wants us to understand, that he wants us to grasp. That is, it's not by our calculation, it's not by what we think we have. If we only do it like that, then we would never see a miracle. We will only see the result of what we're thinking, which often we don't do because it's never enough. It's never enough. But the principle that he wants us to understand here is that he gave us something in our hand purposely. He knows everything. He planned everything. But what we need to do is we need to bring it forth to him. Because the Bible said, when they bring the 5 loaves and 2 fish to Jesus, then he starts to give thanks to it, and he blesses it. And then what happened next? The miracle still doesn't happen then. But by bringing it forth to him, it now has the potential. It now has the potential. It's ready to be a miracle for everyone. What I like about this passage here is that if we read to it closely, the miracle doesn't happen in Jesus' hand. We bring our bread to him, and then he starts to divide the bread and the fish among the disciples. We are the disciples. And then the miracle actually happened as the disciple give out the bread. The bread, the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish, that's very little, look very insignificant. But then when the disciple bring it to Jesus and then start doing what they should do, what they need to do, which is taking care of the sheep, feeding the sheep, then that small things become an abundance for everyone. So this miracle here is really not about a multiplication that can make us rich and all that. But in principle, this is the multiplication that happened because there's a compassion there to feed the sheep. There's a compassion there to take care of his sheep. And then with that compassion, we should be able to put aside all our limitations that we put for ourselves. We box ourselves so often. But the message is, Jesus wants to teach us about compassion, about his compassion for people, for his sheep. And with that compassion, we should be able to put aside our limitation and we can come to him. And when we come to him and we partner with him, and then we will see a result that we've never thought that we thought we've never heard, that we thought we will never see. God can do everything, right? If He only wants to feed the sheep just like that, we should also remember the miracle that God did for the Israelites thousands of years before. There's manna coming from the sky. Jesus can also perform the same miracle if He wants to. But when the Bible said that Jesus knows what He wants to do, that what He would do. What He wants to do is not just feeding the people. What He wants to do here is He wants to teach and train the disciple. He wants to influence, to put in His influence on the disciple about His compassion for the multitude, for the sheep. So the takeaway today, church, I believe God is giving us a challenge at the moment that we want to grow our church. And as little as we think we have, doesn't matter if we have more, we would still think that it's never enough. Because it is not enough. It's never enough. Because the truth is, we are here today is not because of us. It's because of Him and His grace and His compassion. Because of His compassion, He died for us. He has His disciple who take care of His compassion for other sheep as well. And one day, the gospel reached us, and now we are here. Now the question is, do we have the same compassion? If last week Pastor Arvin gave a sermon about Jesus don't entrust Himself to the multitude. But we are the disciple, aren't we? And the question is, if today He entrusts Himself to us, what would we answer Him? He entrusted us with one mission, to have His compassion for the sheep so we would take care of them. And this is a message very important to Him, I believe so. Because Jesus, as He rose from the dead, He took 40 days on earth to see his disciple, yes? And then we should remember in John 21, there's a conversation between Jesus and Peter. It's a message that important, that on that 40 days, His last times with His disciple, He has to remind Peter, Peter, do you love me? And Peter starts saying, yes. You feed my sheep. Peter, do you love me? Yes, Lord. You feed my sheep, he said. And for the third time when he asked, Peter, do you love me? And then he cried. I believe he also cried because he felt this compassion of Jesus to feed his sheep. Church, feeding the sheep is not all it takes to be a good shepherd. A shepherd needs to take care of its sheep. If we have a look at that passage in Psalm 23, it's got everything. There's a good shepherd who loves the sheep, who bring them to water, who put them in the green pasture, who to guide them, to protect them. It's same as us. He called us all here to be a shepherd. We all need to one day level up and be a shepherd. And though most times we think we're not enough. Today, let us learn from this message. That 5 barley loaves, it stated barley loaves for a reason. Because barley loaves is the cheapest of bread on that era. It's not a nice white bread that we eat now. It's made from barley. Barley, people often use for their flock. It's not made of wheat. It's made of barley. It's cheaper than wheat. But even the smallest thing, priceless, that we often just overlook like that, He can use to feed the multitude. And now His question for us is only what's in your hand? What's in your hand? If we are ready to say, yes, Lord, then we should come to Him and bring what He knows He already put in our lives. Not only for us, but so for Him, so He can use for His glory. May I invite the musician to come forward? This morning, church, I want us to start come to God. Because the lesson that He gave to His disciple in this gospel, that also applies for us. He wants us to understand that He has compassion for people. He has compassion for His sheep. And as His disciple, He really wants us to carry on that compassion, that we can serve His people. And may us understand that through what we learned today, He has one promise for us. That He will be with us in every step of our way. Because He loves His people. And no one thing, there's nothing possible for Him. If He wants us to do something, what we need to do is we need to bring what we have to Him. We need to offer ourselves to Him. And we will see as He started to break us, as He started to break the church, He separated in our hand. And we start feeding the sheep. We start taking care of the sheep. We will start to see that miracle of multiplication happen there. This miracle is never meant to make us rich. Yes, at the end of the day, we get an abundance. Because the gospel said, there's 12 baskets full of bread and fish. I believe that's for the 12 disciples. But I believe what Jesus wants to teach us today is we need that compassion if we want to start seeing a miracle. Not just any miracle, but a miracle that's enabling us, that's making us able to take care of His sheep. Church, let's pray.